they've died for that right. Some today, maybe some tonight. So you gotta get up, step right up, stand up and vote. Don't be complaining that you got no voice. You can't change things, you got no choice. Don't be laying around with no hope. Get up, get up, get out and vote.
We know from 2000 that had we in fact at 7:15 in Palm Beach been alert, been aware, provided assistance to those voters, had sample ballots that explained the ballot position, Al Gore would be President of the United States today.
Hi, I'm Donna Brazil, bringing you important information that could make a real difference this election. We remember all too well the 2000 presidential election when tens of thousands of legitimate voters were denied the right to vote, either by faulty voting equipment, systematic purges, intimidation, or a process that stopped the hand counting of all the ballots in Florida. It was greatly disappointing to many of us who worked hard to get voters to the polls. But the 2000 election reminds us of the importance of making sure every vote counts. The work you will do will be critical in ensuring that all voters can exercise their rights at the polls in the upcoming election. You will be on the front line of the party's voter protection program, and you will be counted on to ensure that misguided poll officials and overly aggressive Republican poll watchers do not impose illegal or burdensome requirements on voters. While election laws vary from state to state, there are many problems common to all of them. In this video, you will see several typical problems you may confront on Election Day and some of the general approaches to addressing each of them. The 5 most common problems voters encounter at the polls are ID problems, poll list problems, address problems, challenges, and machine malfunctions or insufficient ballots. In every situation, there are some basic approaches you should follow to resolve the problem quickly and efficiently. The goal overall is to solve the problem quickly, make sure that the voter can vote, and keep the line moving and the polling place running smoothly so all other voters are able to vote. To protect every possible vote, it is imperative to know what is required legally. So review your state's DNC prepared voter protection manuals. Make sure field staff has copies of the Voter Bill of Rights, and hand out notices to voters as they enter the polls of their right to vote, their rights not to be harassed, and their right to understand how to use the voting equipment. And as problems arise, follow these steps. Identify the problem. Find out what is going on by consulting with local election officials. Formulate the solution. You have an understanding of the basic rules of your state and will have with you materials with helpful information on the law and common problems. Most of the time, this is all you need, but you will also have with you the telephone numbers of campaign headquarters or lead attorneys to call for help and advice if you need it. Communicate clearly and constructively with poll officials. In most situations, poll officials will work with you to correct any problems. Call in as necessary for additional assistance. You will have with you the numbers to report problems and seek additional assistance. Do not hesitate to use them. Even if you don't need assistance with a particular situation, you need to report in after the issue has been resolved so a comprehensive record can be maintained. Remember that the goal is to help voters vote. It is not to get into arguments. Avoid direct engagement with Republican poll watchers. Your role is to inform the poll official as to what the law requires, not debate the other side. And always keep a record of all problems, even if they have been resolved, so that the central desk people can keep track of what is happening during Election Day. Now we will address some hypothetical scenarios in which voters are turned away and not allowed to vote. And we will see how the approach we are outlining will apply in these cases. Voter denied right to vote because of lack of ID.
Thanks for voting. Did everything go okay?
No, they said I needed 2 forms of photo IDs to vote.
I'm sorry to hear that, because that's not true. My name is Jack Jones. I'm an attorney with the Democratic legal team, and I'm here to make sure that voters at the polls know their rights.
Great. Why do I need 2 forms of IDs to vote?
Actually, you don't. You only need one form of ID, such as a voter registration card, a social security card, or a driver's license. In fact, even an employer-issued photo ID is sufficient.
Some states require that voters present identification before they vote, but almost all of these states allow voters to cast some kind of ballot even if they do not have appropriate identification.
It's still a problem. I lost my wallet and don't have any ID with me. Is there any way I can vote today?
Yes, there is.
Usually, voters are required to complete an affidavit of some kind before voting in this manner. In these situations, it is important to make sure that poll officials do not require more or a different kind of ID than is legally required. If a voter does not have sufficient ID, the voter is still able to vote in the manner required by law.
I voted.
Great.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Voter not on the roll of registered voters.
Thanks for voting. Did everything go okay?
No, they said I was not allowed to vote.
Oh, that's unfortunate. My name is Paul Johnson, and I'm a member of the Democratic legal team.
Remember, if the voter's name does not appear on the poll list, the new federal law requires that they be provided a provisional ballot.
Well, you have the right to cast a provisional ballot, and here's how that works. A
The
provisional
problem is different if the voter has appeared in the wrong precinct. In some states, the voter will still be entitled to a provisional ballot, while in others, the voter will be entitled to information about the location of the correct polling location. Poll officials should be advised respectfully of the rights of the voter, including a provisional ballot. Inactive voter.
Hola, gracias por votar. ¿Le fue todo bien?
Pues no me dejaron votar.
¿Y eso?
Pues dicen que no estoy en las listas, que no aparezco. Pero yo sé que voté aquí.
You may also encounter a situation in which a voter has an inactive designation next to his or her name, and poll officials are not allowing the voter to vote. Inactive usually refers to the voter who has not responded to a mail-in or has not voted for a certain period of time. This type of voter must be allowed to vote after affirming their address. When this problem arises, notify the poll official that the law requires the voter be permitted to vote. Challenge voter.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Mario Cruz.
Most states allow poll watchers, voters, or poll officials to challenge a voter's qualifications if they doubt the voter is eligible to
Are
vote.
you a newly registered voter?
Yes, I just became a U.S. citizen and I registered by mail.
Sometimes Republican poll watchers
Here's
are
my
overly
license.
aggressive in their challenges.
I want to challenge this. I don't buy it. He's not a voter.
That's an impermissible challenge under state law. He's met all the requirements of the law, and if he weren't a new voter, he wouldn't even have to show ID. He could just sign an affidavit.
Let him show some citizenship papers. This guy's not a real voter. He's a fraud. He's not even. How do we even know he's a U.S. citizen?
By challenging only Democratic voters or voters of a certain racial profile.
No, there's no way. I'm not going to back down on this challenge. He shouldn't be allowed to vote. He's not even a U.S. citizen.
Sir, if you continue to disrupt the polling place, I'm going to have you removed under state law.
I'm not backing down. This guy should not be allowed to vote. It's illegal. He's not a U.S. citizen.
Or by making legally improper or frivolous challenges. Usually a voter who is challenged has the opportunity to defend herself.
The Republican poll watcher won't let me vote inside.
Well, why?
Because he said I'm not a U.S. citizen. I am a U.S. citizen. I became a U.S. citizen.
And has the right to
And
have
while
a
you're
poll
doing that, I'm
official
gonna call the
determine
state council
whether or not
right
she
now.
is
So
eligible
everything
to
should be
vote.
fine. Just go
In
ahead and
any
go in and
event,
vote.
the voter should insist on voting by provisional ballot.
I'll call the General Registrar's office immediately.
I'm sorry for the delay, but thank you so much for your patience. Why don't you head over to the available voting booth?
Thank
It
you.
is critical
Oh, and
that you
tell that
report
lawyer,
all
thank you
such
very much.
challenges to campaign headquarters or to the lead attorney.
I got a call from the state registrar's office. I have to ask you to leave.
Machine malfunctions or insufficient ballots.
Complaint for machine being broken down and paper ballots being used. The machine is not working. However, upon inspection, I find that there's no watcher. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to make a telephone call to headquarters to make sure we have our watcher there observing the process.
Most states require poll officials to provide substitute ballots to voters when machines have failed or create an unofficial ballot if official ballots run out. Poll officials should allow voters to vote through some alternative means. Systematic problems like this should be immediately reported.
First, we will have a lawyer in every precinct. Second, that lawyer will solve the problem within 5 minutes and report to State Council and to a state war room. Third, we will keep an accurate count of each of the incidents, those things we do well and those things that we don't do well, because we want to assure that the right to vote is fully protected.
On behalf of the Democratic National Committee, I wish to thank you for working on this crucial project. Your work will give countless voters the opportunity to exercise their right to vote and to help prevent the kind of debacle we witnessed in the 2000 presidential election.
Don't be a dope, get out the vote. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pull the lever, punch the card, touch the screen, it can't be that hard. One person, one vote.
Go to the ballot box, vote for change.